Day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The Bicol region is implementing stricter border controls as its LGU struggles to contain the surges of COVID-19 cases. Local authorities are calling on the national government to provide the region with more vaccine supplies. Romel Lopez with the details.
In the northern border of Camarines Sur in the town of Del Gallego, a forward control point has been put up to determine if those entering the province are negative for COVID-19 or if their travel is indeed essential. This as the province implements stricter border control due to the rising cases of COVID-19. In Naga City, police are on the lookout for violation of minimum health protocols. Houses of COVID-19 positive patients were on lockdown and are being monitored on daily. A total of 181 households were placed under granular lockdown. One affected resident was Tessie, whose own husband died due to COVID-19.
Sa amin po, mahirap po talaga ganitong lockdown. Maraming hindi magawa sa labas. Lagi lang nandito sa bahay. Ang asawa ko.
Ano po?
Yung asawa ko, yung namatay na din po nung Friday. Kasi may sa puso yun eh. Hindi ko po yun naasikaso. Yung anak ko ang nag-asikaso.
This policewoman named Eileen, not her real name, just got out of the quarantine after both she and her husband, who's also a police officer, got infected with COVID-19. They suspect they got the virus in the front line.
Marami talaga dito sa case ng Naga kasi madaming kasing asymptomatic ngayon. Yung nakakausap mo kagaya sa'yo, kung meron na talaga sintomas o ano. Kasi ang iba, akala lang nila simpleng sipon, simpleng ubo, pero COVID na pala.
Barangay workers are among those patrolling areas under lockdown in Naga. Some roads have been blocked by authorities to limit the travel of non-essential residents.
Ang order sa amin ni Mayor, maglagay ng mga border sa exit and entrance point ng mga aming barangay. Ang dami ng labasan at ano sa aming barangay. Kaya ang ginawa ko, nagpaparunda ako. Pumapasok kami sa mga violator at pinapatikitan ko sila para madala sila na seryoso kami sa pagpatupad ng stay at home lang talaga. Epektibo naman. Talagang may mga pasaway na hindi mapagsabihan.
Health authorities from Naga said that the uptrend in COVID-19 cases in the city started last month. The city currently has 281 active cases out of 2,447 total cases. Naga City also registered the highest attack rate among LGUs in the Bicol region. The LGUs around 20 to 25 new cases tallied per day, most coming from working class. The LGU believes a spike can be avoided if the city can receive higher vaccine supply allotment.
Hindi lang Naga, kundi halos lahat ng mga probinsya, may problema talaga sa bakunang ibinababa dahil na-focus doon sa NCR Plus yung mga naunang bakunang dumating. Siguro mas lesser siguro yung namatay kung maagap yung ating pagbabakuna.
As of today, only 7,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccine have been administered in the city that has a population of over 170,000. For News 5, Romel Lopez. We are One News.
Iloilo City Mayor Jerry Treñas slammed presidential spokesperson Harry Roque for blaming Ilonggos for experiencing a surge in the city. Speaking with 1PH sa Totoo Lang, Treñas admitted that he was once friends with Roque while in Congress. But with his remarks against his city, the local chief said he might be reluctant to help Roque for his possible senatorial bid.
Okay naman si Harry, but minsan mas mabilis ang bunganga niya sa utak niya. So I think as an intelligent person, dapat mauna ang utak mo sa bunganga mo.
Treñas also questioned why Quezon City, with a population of 3 million, was able to receive 600,000 doses of vaccines, while the entire Region 6, which includes 6 provinces, only got half that number. He believes that local executives should not have to go begging for vaccine supply from the national government. Treñas added that for the most part, Iloilo City needs more than just additional COVID-19 shots.
We need medicines. We need remdesivir and the like. We need medical equipment like ventilators and high-flow oxygen cannula. And we need PhilHealth to pay the hospitals.
Yes.
Utang hospitals, almost 1 billion. Hindi nagbabayad.
The Interior Department says LGUs implementing a walk-in policy for vaccinations will not face sanctions. This as long as minimum health protocols are strictly implemented at vaccination sites. On One News's agenda, DILG acting spokesperson Odilon Pasaraba says the agency respects the discretion of some LGUs to allow walk-in vaccinations due to internet connectivity issues or low turnout of online registrants. However, Pasaraba stressed that local officials will be held accountable if they fail to implement health guidelines in their vaccine drive. He said local policies must also be consistent with those implemented by the national government.
For as long as walang mga violations on the minimum health standards and walang wastage doon sa mga vaccines and na-achieve naman yung mga listahan particularly doon sa mga priorities, then whatever system effective sa lokal na pamahalaan, the DILG respects that. Yeah.
The health department says the Delta variant is 60% more transmissible than the Alpha variant. In an interview with Agenda, Epidemiology Bureau Director Alethea de Guzman explained that the Delta variant can infect as much as 5 to 8 individuals, while the original coronavirus from Wuhan in China could only infect up to 3 persons per positive patient.
Ngayon po, para po usually tinatawag nila yung sa bet, sa alpha, no, it's 60 to 70% more transmissible, no? Pero nung kung itatry natin, opo, kumpara sa Wuhan, no? Pero kung itatry natin gamitin yung, kung familiar po tayo dun sa reproduction number, sabihin, kung ako yung kaso, ilan yung potential na dagdag na mai-infect ko po, no? Yun po yung nabanggit ko na sa Wuhan, baka nakakadalawa lamang hanggang 3 ang potential na ma-infect ko. Pagdating po kay Alpha variant, umaabot po yun ng 4 to 5, no? Pero pagdating po kay Delta, posibleng hanggang 5, hanggang 8 tao po ang posibleng ma-infecta ng iisa lamang na kaso ng Delta variant.
Despite this, de Guzman insists that existing vaccines can still somehow protect people against various COVID-19 strains. However, the expert emphasized that we must minimize the risk of new mutations to avoid another surge in infections.
May iilan po ng mga variant of concern tulad po nung sa Beta at ito pong sa Gamma at sa Delta na ang isa pa pong binabantayan ay yung potential na epekto po nila sa ating mga bakuna, yung tinatawag nating vaccine efficacy. So, epektibo pa po siya, pero kung dati ang iginagawad na proteksyon ay 100%, posibleng 90 or 80% na lamang po. Halimbawa, sa Alpha variant, there's a certain brand is still effective at up to 92%, no? And for the Delta, there are brands that are effective up to 74% in one of those studies. So, may epekto po, diba? At sinasabi nga natin, that 74, that 94, 92% protection is better than the zero protection that we don't get ourselves vaccinated.
We are officially down to the last month before the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, which has been delayed for a year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Spectators, athletes, officials, and journalists will have to abide by a number of strict virus guidelines to prevent potential super spreader events. Bloomberg Quick Takes Kurumi Mori talks to epidemiologist Catherine Bennett, Team USA Olympian Ariel Torres, and Bloomberg reporter Isabel Reynolds to hear their insights. Let's listen in.
Let's start with you, Catherine. Are these rules outlined in the IOC's playbooks enough to keep the Games from turning into a super spreader event?
Look, they've tried to think everything through. What's important is that the pre-testing, even offshore before people are allowed to come into the village, to make sure that people are negative, testing negative and vaccinated. The majority, 80%, are expected to be vaccinated as well. So that certainly helps. The challenge is, though, if you do have an infection, we know that even with the effort put into distancing people and encouraging people to modify their behaviour according to the rules, that you are still in these closed spaces. You still do have shared corridors that rooms face onto. And we've seen in Australia, our hotel quarantine, no matter how fastidious they are in trying to keep people isolated and stop that spread, that you can still see infection spread through corridor air and so on. So while they're putting everything in place, it's about risk reduction. You can't get rid of the risk altogether. That's the challenge. But what they do have in place should contain any problems they do have, but it might still impact across individual athletes or other members visiting associated with the Games.
Okay, so may help a little. Ariel, this is going to be your first Olympic Games. Do you feel safe to attend?
I 100% feel safe attending the Olympics this year. I feel like everyone's, most people now are vaccinated. Most people are, as an athlete, I feel like most athletes take care of themselves a lot. Mostly speaking for myself and other teammates I have, they all have been taking care of themselves. So I personally believe that, I feel safe, I feel good, I feel like everything's going to go swimmingly.
The Tokyo Games will allow domestic spectators to attend, and residents here have had some mixed reactions. Here's Tokyo 2020 President Seiko Hashimoto with the announcement.
オリンピック競技大会に関して日本政府のイベント開催制限を踏まえ、すべての会場において観客数の上限を収容定員 50% 以内で1万人とする。なお、学校連携の児童生徒、引率者についてはその性質に鑑み別途の取り扱いとする。競技実施時間については現在のスケジュールは維持し、上記に定める観客の入場を認めることを基本とする。
All right, that was Seiko Hashimoto there. The Japanese Prime Minister Suga and the IOC have repeatedly said they will do their utmost to hold a safe and secure Olympics. Isabel, let me go to you now. Seeing that domestic spectators will now be allowed, what steps have they really taken to assure the public and all stakeholders?
Right. Well, as you say, Japan has been a bit late in rolling out its own vaccines among its populations, but they have tried to ramp this up in the past few weeks. So we're seeing that they're aiming for 1 million doses a day, and we're almost there in terms of how fast it's moving ahead. But unfortunately, we're still only at 7.2% of the population being fully vaccinated at this point. Obviously, that will rise over the next month. And that's why I think we're seeing still in the polls, more than 80% of respondents say they don't think the government will be able to achieve this pledge of holding a safe and secure Olympics.
On now to some entertainment news. Several Filipino singers have banded together in a campaign to end hate against Asians. MJ Marfori with the details.
Just before Pride Month ends, the Filipino dub of I Told Sunset About You is now streaming on Pop TV PH. The Thai coming-of-age BL series follows two childhood friends who drifted apart from each other as they grew up, only to unexpectedly reunite after many years as they struggle to be admitted to a university. As the story unfolds, the two would realize how they're already falling for each other. Lead actors Bilkin Putthipong and PP Crit spoke with News 5 and shared the valuable lessons they've learned during the film.
We cannot rate the value of people by the sex preference. I think we have to change the attitude.
We would like to share this in globally about culture in some perspective that we have to make this as a norm.
In another news on inclusivity, several Filipino singers joined forces in a campaign against Asian hate. The all-star cast includes Lea Salonga, Apple Diap, Marta Rivera, Gary V, and Jed Madela, among many others. In hashtag Stop All Hate, organized by Asia Society, they performed the Rodgers and Hammerstein's 1950 song, You Got to Be Carefully Taught, a song on bigotry. For 2021, they gave it a new context that would reflect the signs of the times. For News 5, MJ Marfori, we are One News.
And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us again later at 1 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.